Okay, we've reached the 2-minute mark and we will kick off. Hello everyone, welcome to the Guards webinar, Cybersecurity Simplified, addressing the unique needs of MSPs. I'll do a quick introduction. Myself, Doni Brass. I'm the VP of Product. I've been in the security and tech industry for some time now. I've built products that many of you probably already know, such as Cisco Umbrella, Log Me and Rescue. But currently I lead product at Guards, and I'm really proud of what we've accomplished in the short time, and our growing community of partners is really a testament to the value that we're currently bringing to the table. Our mission at Guards is to bring cybersecurity to small and medium-sized businesses through our partnerships with MSPs. And with that, I'd like to tell you a little more about the journey we've been on and our learnings along the way. We've spoken with, over 1,000 MSPs just this past year, and we learned a lot about the challenges that they face in the cybersecurity world. Interestingly enough, we don't hear so often about technical problems with fending off attacks or technology gaps in their existing tech stack. Instead, we hear a lot about the challenges of building and scaling their security business. We hear about the challenge of selecting tools that are manageable, easy to learn and train on, and that are geared towards, the way they operate and the way they build their business. And we hear a lot about the stress of managing a lot of point solutions and how the deployments vary from customer to customer, and that management has just become more complex over time. So these are the three main things I want to dive into today. Of course, along the way, I'll try to give some insights and share some thought leadership where I think it's relevant. At the end of the session, we'll definitely have a Q&A, and we'll have a chance to ask questions, give those answers, and certainly we'll have a team here that's going to be available to do any kind of follow-up that you're interested in. So this concept of tools being built for enterprise and not MSPs, most vendors sell directly to the businesses that are benefiting from the security. Most security vendors do this, go to market in this way, and they don't focus really on an MSP's needs. I mentioned before, I worked at Cisco Umbrella and Log Me and Rescue, and if I'm honest about it, MSPs on some level are an afterthought because these are enterprise and telecom focused tools where delivery of features are meant for these large customers, these big opportunities that have impact on the roadmap. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, we launched this new feature, and what can we do quickly for our MSP partners or the MSP market? And they're not built from scratch really with the MSP in mind. And the market is also saturated with security tools and point solutions that really live in a silo, right? They have integrations, and of course can always plug them into a SIM or a SOAR, but it really, at the end of the day, there are siloed products that deliver the value that they want to bring to the table. And look, I don't blame them. New startups, new technologies pop up all the time. Companies want to be acquired. They want to fit into some other broader platform that acquires them, and in the meantime, they're just focused on their niche use cases, which can bring a lot of value, but are difficult for MSPs to adopt. So we learned a lot about what it really means to be MSP first, and I want to share some of our learnings here. Navigation through the product is probably one of the first things and biggest complaints, but also first things that we focused on in Guards that we really found was essential for our partners. That we must understand the mentality of an MSP, jumping from managing many customers all at once to managing and diving into the details of a single customer. And giving that flexibility and that flexibility of movement throughout a product is really how an MSP operates. And at times that means aggregation, right? Because aggregation simplifies the ability and reduces the effort of trying to do those same repetitive tasks over and over. So you can see something in aggregation, you can decide what you need to focus on, you can dive into that, you can easily repeat that from customer to customer. And when something is discovered in that aggregation, you can apply it to one or to many customers at once. And it has to be very easy to push to many customers. Of course, there are some smaller MSPs that are dealing with 3, 4, 5 clients. It's not as bad, but once you start scaling to 10 or dozens or even hundreds, it starts to become unmanageable. So the goal should be to maintain consistency with your settings. It makes your life easier, and it also secures a higher value of security because it is more manageable by you, right? Having the best product in the world, if it's not managed properly, doesn't get you to proper security posture. So configure centrally, differentiate locally is really this mantra that we're trying to build throughout our product, where you can get your settings right, you can configure it, push to the relevant customers, and when needed, you can go always and do overrides on the individual customer level and try to find ways to do that. So this is something we learned that's really seems to be relevant across the entire market and across all the products that our customers use. Licensing as sort of the last point here. I know that it's easier said than done, and it shocked me how complicated licensing seems to have become on the surface for a lot of the market, a lot of our customer base. And there's all kinds of a la carte options and unclear plans and upgrade motions that don't make sense. And even if the reality of these plans tend to be a little on the complex side, we feel it doesn't need to be that complicated. That having really taking the time to understand the way MSPs manage those licenses across their customer base is really the key to getting it right and making these offerings right. That means typically MSPs like to start off small, and they like to ramp up. They like to grow with their customers as they add to new customers and deploy and roll out to their customers. So Guards reflects that. We have ramp-up plans to help them. We understand that some customers some MSPs can't handle having a minimum, and that there's we have a self-serve option that lets you do any minimum you want. But as you want to kind of grow and make commitments to Guards and being a partner, then you get the benefits of the partnership program along with those commitments. So these are things that just make sense for us, and we hope that it comes across in our relationship to the partners we work closely with. Now, another thing we discovered in our journey is that one of the biggest challenges on MSPs is growing their business, attracting clients, and part of that is through differentiation, and part of that is through just the communication with those clients and being able to show the value that they want to bring. So it's probably the most difficult part, right, for a lot of the channel. There's trainings, coaches, groups dedicated to this area, right, in the MSP world. But ultimately, we see as a vendor, it's also our responsibility to understand this need and to contribute to that in different ways. So contribute to our partners, but also to the community as a whole. So how does that translate? So that means for us, at least, it's all about tools and content. Customers and prospects don't always speak the language of security, right? So that means that our risk assessments and our collateral, for example, need to speak the language of the customers. And we try to, again, provide this in a use case driven way, something that resonates with the business owners, not just someone who's a security or technical expert. Content is king. In today's day and age, being able to offer content, being able to have something that's consumable, to understand the value of the products and the services you're offering, that's essential. For your growth and for the business owners to understand. And so we've actually, injected educational content into all of our content. Make sure if we're using technical terms, we're trying to define them and make sure that there's some substance for those business owners to consume to better understand what they're getting. Another thing that's still a journey for us is really around this concept of white labeling, right? So MSPs want their logo and they want their brand to be front and center, and that's essential. So right from early days, Guards made sure that we have MSP logos and brands and the customer communication. But what we found is sometimes actually that's not enough. Even what we're doing is not enough. That there's some need for full OEMing, right? Full white labeling, full OEMing. Don't have the Guards brand at all. So that's actually a journey we're on now, is trying to find where that right level of OEMing our platform is to hide Guards from the end consumer. And let it be just the MSP service offering. So we're on that journey where I think we've gone a long way, but we still have some way to go, and we're happy to be working with some design partners on getting that right. And lastly is this concept of taking credit for the hard work, right? You as an MSP, put a lot of hours, put a lot of effort into deploying, managing, securing your customer base, but if you can't show them that value, there's a miss, right? So the idea of reports that show the return on investment from these customers, on creating stickiness and creating a pattern and a cadence where you either on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, or possibly even more frequently, you can meet with your customers, you can show them the value you're bringing to the table, and you can then inspire them on what should we be focusing on next. What is our next goal that we're working on together to reach for your security and safety? And because a lot involves employee awareness and a lot involves contributions from other parts of the business. So getting that engagement, getting that credit, those two things together become really, really important. I want to stop for just a quick second. I would love to throw a poll out there to try to get a sense of when you're engaging with your customers, when you're out there showing up for a prospecting call, prospecting meeting, what is it that you bring with you? And if you can kind of share that with the group here, that would be really valuable for us to see. Take a minute, and it's a multi-select option, so you can choose more than one. Great, appreciate the contribution, and we'll show you those results now. I think we'll show you the results. There we go. Great. So yeah, so company brochures, that makes sense. That standard risk assessment reports, I really encourage, those of you who aren't doing it, this can be a really, really powerful tool. It's an important part of the Guards platform. All of our partners give us amazing feedback that this is something that they show up to all their customer and prospecting appointments with, and it really helps them be more professional, but also show some real security value right from the get-go. And industry-specific marketing materials, that's something we're working on. So we have some out there already. If you have any specific needs, we'd love to hear about it. Help us grow our content. Great, thank you for that. Another challenge I want to dive into here is around the concept of managing point solutions, right? And this not being something that's scalable in the MSP world. This requires a team of experts, a team of, I call them, unicorn experts, meaning they just don't exist in the market. Go try to find a cyber expert that you can hire who understands how to manage, an EDR and an email security and a dark web analysis tool and all the different web filtering and try to get someone who knows how to do all of that and to analyze that and make sure things don't fall through the cracks. It's very, very difficult. So the challenge is more than just that it's not scalable. The challenge is it becomes something where it impacts your real security posture. If you can't track across all those point solutions, a lot will fall through the cracks. So this is an industry-wide problem. We talk about a single pane of glass, and a lot of that comes from the idea that there's just a tool fatigue. I've heard at enterprises, the average enterprise is using 40 or 50 security tools. In the MSP world, it's probably something more in the lines of anywhere from 5 to even a dozen different security tools. And I think it's just overwhelming for a lot of people to own and manage those kind of capabilities. The other thing I think is that a lot of these niche tools are developed based on what can we do? What's the latest technology that we can apply to in our niche ways in order to keep companies secure? And all of them have value, but not all of them lead to real world claims. Guards is actually, when we launched Guards, we dove into a huge data set based on real world insurance claims of what were people, where were these claims coming from? What was the root cause analysis? What was the resolution, the incident response and the resolution that came following up on that? And how could we build a platform that solved the vast majority of those issues? And that's where guards came from, this sort of real world claims. And that's why we've packed all these together so that things won't fall through the cracks. I'll show you a little bit more just to expand a little bit more on that. We have this holistic cybersecurity platform. We support customers from the outside in, from the inside out. It goes in both directions. This covers a whole variety of security controls, as you see on the screen there. And what I'm trying to get at is the value that comes with this type of platform really comes from actually what we call a use case approach to cyber threats. So it's not, hey, I need you to protect me from a phishing attack, so I'll get some really good email security in place to block those phishing emails. I mean, that is an approach, but that's not a holistic approach. A holistic approach to blocking and preventing a phishing attack would be to start with an external scan and looking at the footprint of the company and understanding how is their DNS or their email server configured? Is there the DKIM and the SPF configured correctly? Is DMARC configured correctly? And based on those, is the company email vulnerable to spoofing or hijacking? So starting on that outside and then trying to prevent any malicious emails coming in. They do come in. Our email security can block phishing and spam and viruses, but still things get through the cracks. They're getting more sophisticated every day. And when something gets through the cracks, have the employees been trained? Have they gone through their cyber awareness trainings? How recently? Have they received phishing simulation emails and have they passed that? And if those users have been trained, those employees, then they should be able to identify a lot of those malicious emails and stop them and report them. Sometimes something gets through, they click on a link. Okay, now we should be looking at your browser, your browser activity. Is there malicious web activity that we need to bubble up, that we need to say, hey, some malicious activity is happening here? Still, sometimes things get through the cracks. User clicks on a link, downloads something to their device, and then of course, endpoint security is essential here. Find the threat, isolate the threat, and prevent it from spreading any further. So this is the holistic approach and the difference between connecting the dots within a platform that could be managed by the average MSP like guards, or having to build out a complex point solution with a SIM or a SOAR managed by a team of experts who spend their full time just trying to stay on top of all those threats. So, and still then things can fall through the cracks with these kind of siloed solutions. So this is the more consolidated and integrated backbone of the guards platform, connecting those dots, detecting and responding to any attacks. But I want to go a little further on this concept of consolidation of features. So we saw that the issue with these point solutions can best be solved with this kind of consolidation, and security tools for MSPs needs to still be intuitive and educational along with that, meaning they must work together and be easy to understand. So being in a single pane of glass is actually only part of it. The value of a platform is not just that you log into a single place. It has to be that the controls work together. It has to be that more things are discovered and resolved and less things fall through the cracks. And that means still the tool needs to be managed. It needs to be owned by someone. And there's always this balance between the hands-on management, configuration, checkups, etc., and the ease of set and forget. And working on that balance, it's different for every company, but working on that balance is something that guards tries to give the right level of flexibility and encourage and guide our users through the best practices. Ultimately, the admin has to find the right rhythm, right? Is it regular check-ins, once a week, what's urgent, manually monitoring versus this kind of automation, automatic settings, automatic configurations, which is really key, right? You'll find that in the way email security works. Things are automatically quarantined and put into a safe situation where the employee can make the decision rather than putting it on the MSP. Or on the endpoint, things are, threats are automatically quarantined or blocked. Policy settings are configured to be enforced to make sure those devices are hardened as much as possible and secure against common threats. So really, at the end of the day, a tool is only as good as the ability for an MSP or an admin to use it and to understand how they're using it. Okay, so I hope this was interesting. I hope this gives you a little bit of a taste of kind of the Guard's approach to cybersecurity, the platform approach to how, what we've learned from the MSP market and how we continue to be committed to that, the community, how we want to enable our partners. And I'll pause for a second and give you guys a chance to ask any questions. I did my best to try to keep this session within about 20 minutes of me talking, which I think I succeeded. But I did save a little bit of time here at the end for some questions. I see a couple questions here. One is asking about IAM, specifically referencing a company like Jump Cloud and identity access. So if the question is basically, does Guards or is Guards planning on doing IAM? Identity management isn't something that's specifically on our roadmap to try to compete or align with these, but we do see the value on the alignment of the user-focused approach to security. And what you'll see is more and more as Guards gets built out, more and more risk focus will be on specific users. We've seen this resonates with our partners, the ability to pull a report that's user focused and see where is the risk, who are the riskiest users, what needs to be focused on, whether it's that, the user's device, the user needs more training, that user's more susceptible to clicking on an email, that user's web activity is malicious. All of that gets tied into a user risk score and helps bubble up that specific risk. So though we aren't investing directly in identity management, you can see some overlap, and I could certainly see a future where we integrate more with some of those existing tools to help bring a more sort of holistic offering to our user risk score. I agree with that. There's a little mention there too about cyber insurance policies. So this is something that Guards is fully focused on. I mentioned earlier, a lot of our data that we use to build our platform came from the insurance industry. That's not a coincidence. A lot of our mission to help small and medium-sized businesses stay secure is twofold. It's first and foremost secure it with a great security platform, and secondly, and we're actively working on this, and it's rolled out in some states already, the ability to get you cybersecurity insurance for your customers. So get them into a good, healthy security posture and Guards. We have a security score that's designed for this specifically, and then let's get them covered with cyber insurance. Okay, I'm moving on to another question. MFA, SSO, and password management. I certainly see that. We definitely hear a lot of need for this stuff in the market. For now, we're integrating with the Microsoft and Google as far as SSO. We are monitoring MFA as an essential capability. If the question is, can you log into Guards with your MFA and SSO? So again, it's with the Google and Microsoft logins, but that's how we manage it with those in the cloud right now. And password management is something we do here. We don't have that on our roadmap at the moment, but again, I could see a good value for an integration there, trying to bubble that up and help you see, which users are utilizing that and where there may be gaps in that usage. We actually have also heard some of our customers using our training capabilities to try to educate their users on, password management, password tools, and even the specific tools they're using. Okay, so thank you for those questions, Sean. Okay, it's an interest. Thanks for sharing that. There's a bunch of IAM security platforms that you're using, so I think you're right. I think there's a natural fit there. If you're curious about how you can use those side by side with Guards, be happy to talk more about that. And another question here about do we integrate with other vendors or products such as Microsoft Defender? So quick answer to that, especially because you mentioned Microsoft Defender, is yes. We work really hand in hand on the endpoint with Microsoft Defender. So our endpoint solution is a Guards agent and has 4 main capabilities. We start off first and foremost with like a device posture scan. So we're looking at things like the operating system, the AV, are those up to date? Are the signatures up to date? Is the device encrypted? Is the firewall turned on? Is there other things around that would harden the posture of that device? We bubble those up, yes, no, or things configured properly, and give some remediations for how to solve those. So posture is one. Number two is threat detection, and for that we actually integrate with Microsoft Defender and Mac XProtect in order to utilize their native threat capabilities on the device, and we give managed AV on top of that. So even if you have the free Microsoft Defender, we give the managed AV capability to see it across all your users, and the policy settings. So that's the third thing that we do, policy settings in order to configure how do you want Defender to behave on those devices. So you can configure what are those policies, and you can choose to monitor them and just be alerted if those policies are different, or enforce them, where we push the fix and we make sure every device is set up exactly how you want for Defender. The last thing we do is more on the early ransomware detection, threat hunting side. So for that we do scan and collect auto runs and processes, and we have some bait files, some early detection files running on the device that will help us identify, okay, is there a threat? Is there some ransomware attempting something? And then we're about to release isolation, which will help you isolate that device, take it offline, cut all the network connections, except a lifeline to guards, and reduce the risk of it spreading beyond that. So that's all part of our early ransomware detection. So that's one integration we have with the Defender. Again, we integrate deeply with Microsoft and Google on the cloud side, and other integrations we have right now are with RMM and PSA tools for deploying our agent and for passing and generating tickets within various PSA tools. So you can have any issues in guards be sent directly to your PSA for managing. Great. Okay, some positive feedback, guys. I appreciate it. And when we be running this session again, we're gonna be doing webinars, at least 1 or 2 webinars a month. We will have a recording of this. So Travis, I know you're asking, we'll make sure to make that available to all attendees. And I see a question here, one last one. Can we push compliance policies as well from the endpoint? So something we're exploring. There's a couple concepts within our agent. One is something called OS Query, and this is some technology we use in our agent. And this is certainly something that we could leverage to push various policies. Again, today the policies we push are based around the settings we push are based around Defender. Compliance policies or hardening type policies is something we're exploring. So I could see that being a part. It's not something I can commit to on the roadmap right at this moment, but it's certainly a direction that we're going and something that I could see as being a great fit. All right. With that, I see we are at the half hour. I want to respect everyone's time. I know you guys are busy. Really glad to have a great turnout for today, and I hope it was valuable for our attendees. If you, I would say if there's a follow-up that you're interested in specifically, please reach out to us, talk to us right from the website. You can book a demo or you could schedule a meeting. But the other thing I would encourage is to start a trial. If you're not already using guards, right from the website, you got a 14-day free trial. Jump in there, use the product, get a feel for it. It's designed to be very intuitive and easy for you to get started with. At any time, reach out, and I hope to see you in the future. Thanks everyone for joining.